What's up, everyone? This is your boy M3, and welcome to M3 TV Network. So I have like another reaction video, and I have to give a shout out to my homie Stan the Man. Okay, so in this reaction, I'm going to react to a person like on Instagram. She has like a pretty large following. Oops. And her name is Tammi. We're just gonna call her Tammi Haddon, if I'm pronouncing it right. But anyways, she made a valid point in regards to religion, because what she was talking about was people like doing witchcraft, and we'll get on their helmets about that, and we'll tell them how wrong that they're doing. But when it comes to the pastors, the people who are in charge to rule over the congregation, and the pastor's pretty much abusing like his authority, do we speak up about it? So I'm just gonna play this video as we do this reaction together. So let's go. Make sure it's on.
We minister about and preach about witchcraft in the church from the stance of people who are burning sage and people that are buying crystals. And we talk about them and we preach about it, but never do we mention the pastor that stands in the pulpit that tries to control people, tells them who they can be friends with, tells them who they can and cannot talk to, tells them that they can't deal with people that used to be members of their church but have now left, that tell them who they can and cannot marry, that suggests that you have to get permission from them before you marry, and then if you do marry, they then tell you what you can and cannot do in your bedroom with your spouse. Witchcraft has been a thing in the church for a long, long time, but it's been more prevalent in the pulpit than it has in the pews.
Well, you heard what the lady said, right? Witchcraft has definitely been more prevalent, but when it comes to, like I said before, the pastor telling other people how to run their own marriages, they're telling you who you should date. So let's go ahead and dive into it. I think this would be like a quick video. So to start, I know I had my experiences of people in the church that I used to go to. I ain't gonna say nobody's names or advertise the church, but we did have preachers or leadership tell us, hey, this is the person that they will so-called recommend for us to date, but then if we're not following their lead, then they'll deem us to be unspiritual. Then they'll try to kind of shame us, and then they'll use like kind of like the what would Jesus pretty much do. And so excuse me. So when that stuff happens, it forces people to be in relationships where they're not really mentally compatible, emotionally compatible. You may say that person is spiritually compatible, but how would you really know if that person is really spiritually compatible with that person? Because if you think about it, it takes years, to develop the foundation of marriage. Once you get married to that person, you will see the real side of your spouse, pretty much. And so my point that I'm trying to make is, you may saw this woman and you guys emotionally, mentally, and probably spiritually connected, but somebody in leadership told you that this person, especially maybe during that time, they don't see that person to be spiritual, because maybe that person is not following the rules within the church. Maybe that person is happy within his or herself, and they don't really see that. And so when they're telling you, yo, do not date this person because we look at this person as unspiritual, have their people in the congregation took the time to kind of get to know that person? Or are you just following what rumors will say? Remember, there's some people that's in leadership that is over certain people. Let's say like a discipling partner. okay? Or a Christian partner, however you want to call it. And maybe there's some envy, there's some jealousy. But because that person is connected within the leaders, that person could say whatever they want to say to tarnish the reputation of that other person that they may not like secretly. And so when it gets to them, then instead of doing a thorough check or talking to that person their own selves, they go by from what they hear, and then they tell you, do not date this person, do not marry this person because that person is unspiritual. Let's say they find someone else for you, okay? And they're telling you this person is spiritual because that person is doing all the right things, the fundamental things in the congregation. Now you listen to the leadership because you're following that what would Jesus do type of mentality. And so you're thinking, well, you know, I need to kind of submit to my leaders or submit to authority. So let me go ahead and be spiritual and follow leadership's guidance into who I should date and who I should fall in love with. Now you're married to that person, and that person who was quote unquote spiritual, what would happen if that person had I don't know if the correct word is saying breakthrough, or let's just say the word, what happens to that person have a traumatic experience in his or her life? And it's to the point that's beyond your control as a man and a woman. So now the person that you thought that was spiritual because leadership told you that person was spiritual, it's not spiritual at all. That person changed. Or maybe that person was never spiritual to begin with. So that whole spiritual and that acts of service was a ploy to get married, to win the favor of leadership. You know what I mean? People forget that there is a Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit guides us, okay? It comes from the Almighty. It guides us through our decision making. It's almost like you hear that little voice and something inside your spirit just telling you, yo, I'm not feeling this person. There's something about him. I'm just not really feeling the vibe. That's probably the Holy Spirit that's telling you, don't listen to those people. Follow your heart, follow your mind, but also follow what the scriptures say as well. The problem is people are lazy and they don't want to do the research on their own. You just blindly follow another person who is blind. Okay? It's like the blind leading the blind. Okay? But anyways, I just wanted to kind of share my thoughts and my reaction to the video because, I mean, if you went to a church or a cult, I would just say, and you had that type of experience, this lady is definitely on key with that. And so you have to kind of really do your due diligence to dig into the scriptures. So then that way you could acquire the information for your own self. Look, they say we're all supposed to be leaders. That's what most of them say. So you need to act like a leader. Okay? Dig into the scriptures. Get some advice, some input. But ultimately, it is your decision to make the final call for your life. You could seek a lot of advice, and sometimes the advice will probably work in your favor. I'm not going to say that all advice is bad advice, especially in the church. People gave wonderful advice, and advice was applied, and it really helped save them from, matter of fact, it helped them to dodge a big bullet bill. You know what I mean? So sometimes advice is necessary. But if the Spirit is telling you and is giving you some type of feeling that it is not the one, it's not working out, don't go through that. Don't go through the pressure. If you are in love with someone and that person is in love with you, and regardless of spirituality, whatever the case is, if you feel in your heart that you guys are compatible and you guys are aligned together, then that might be your soulmate. And don't let nobody else tell you otherwise. So anyways, thank you for tuning in to N3 TV Network. Make sure that you follow my Knowledge of Relationships friends, the Intellectual Soapbox, and also follow DJ Eddie King. And of course, as I said before, last but not least, make sure you follow the motherboard of them all. Follow our channel, Knowledge and Relationships. Peace, blessings, thank you. Okay, I don't know why I did that kiss.